All right.
Check it up.
We're rocking. We are finally back.
We're back.
After, I don't know, long. Well, no, we were back 3 weeks ago right after you won Red Crest.
Yeah,
and
I think that was the last show, wasn't it?
Yeah, you literally left the next morning. So glad to be back in the studio.
Lots went on since then.
Yeah, I'd say a few little derbies.
Had a
couple jelly heads getting smashed.
2 MLF events.
Yeah, you got 2. I forgot about that.
2.
Well, on the topic, it was a Bassmaster Classic recap and a Lake Murray top 10.
Well, there's not much to recap about Douglas for me, personally.
Well, there is. I mean, but you learned something while you were there. We'll talk about that.
I don't know if I did.
If you don't win a tournament, you learn something. Even when you win, you learn something. All right. So first off, everybody knows Let's Talk Fish. Appreciate everybody jumping on. We got 35, 40 viewers, something like that. It's climbing. You know, I think we had like 600 or 700 live viewers on the last episode.
Yeah, on the Red Crest show.
I don't know. It's spring break week and a lot of things going on. I say we try to bust that record tonight, but I don't know if spring break week's going to do it.
Probably not.
And the fact,
I'm barely here.
That and the fact, Brian just didn't win $300,000 in the tournament either a couple days prior. It was like 2 days prior.
Oh, yeah.
2 days prior, and then he jumped in the studio, and then he skipped practice on Douglas Lake the first day. Or did you get up there at all that day?
No. I got there late that evening. I practiced 2 days.
Okay.
And didn't really find a lot. And my results showed.
Well, that looked like a tough derby. We'll get into that here in just a minute. But everybody knows LTF, sponsored by English Choice Marine. Y'all know the locations. We talk about them all the time. Spindale, North Carolina, Lexington, North Carolina, and Martinsville, Virginia. Do not forget LTF 10 for acmtackle.com. We've talked about ACM Tackle. If you have not been on the website, do yourself a favor. Go to acmtackle.com. Got some unbelievable stuff. Awesome colors, awesome baits. LTF10 is the code to get 10% off your order. Free shipping over $50 and a free sun shirt with any purchase over $25. Now, I had several people message us or message me and ask me tell me they didn't get their sun shirt. I've mentioned this before, but you got to add it to your cart. Yeah. It's just like when you do
it doesn't just show up. You got to add it.
Fall in there because it's going to, you got to click on the size and all that stuff. All right. So real quick, we got a couple little announcements to make. Number one, English Choice. Speaking of English Choice, they just listed Hank Parker's 2022 Z520R, and get this, it has 31 hours on it. Okay,
oh my God, that's a brand new boat.
Basically, a brand new
boat.
2022 Hank Parker Z520R. They just listed it in its own English Choice Marines website. Go check it out. I'm sure that boat will not last very long at all. If it's not already sold and it listed today, I think. So check that out. Hey, you'll be interested to hear this. So, English Choice took over the Thursday Nighters.
Yeah.
The inaugural one was this past Thursday.
I heard it took like 16 to win.
46 boats. Mm-hmm. Okay. I went over there and helped with blast off, and we had them idle by the dock with the live wells open.
Yeah.
Calling out numbers one by one. 46 boats, paid 6 places. First place paid over $500.
That's pretty good for a little Thursday nighter.
Right, and a $40 entry fee, I think. Isn't that what it is, Tyler?
Yeah,
$40?
Correct.
At that rate, they're going to have the biggest fish-off payout they've ever had. Now, on top of that, so the Thursday Nighters, if anybody's... Y'all have heard Brian and I talk about Moss Lake Thursday Nighters. We fished them for 30 years. English Choice did a great job, Mike Burkett up there, of taking these things over this year to run them and to keep the tradition going. They're also kicking in $100 for the highest finishing, you don't have to win, the highest finishing English Choice boat in the tournament. Buddy Black picked that up last week, finished third. He might have got $150 for third, $200
extra $100
and basically doubled his money. So
that's a crazy deal.
Right.
I mean, that's amazing.
Every Thursday night all year, $100 for the highest finishing English Choice boat.
We should fish Thursday.
Yeah. What is? We'll think about that.
Hey.
All right, so we. So Moss Lake Thursday Nighters for any of the locals that are listening or tuning in,
I'm eating Zots.
Or we'll hear this. I'll keep talking while you're chewing on Zots.
Okay.
We'll hear this later. Come out Thursday nights, Moss Lake. Yes, you do have to get a permit from the office up there to fish Moss Lake. It is owned by the city of Kings Mountain. It's a good time. It's a great payout. We have a championship in October, and English Choice and our local Leonards here with Eric Yarborough and that crew who's managing it now. I think they're going to kick in some prizes. English Choice is going to kick in some extra stuff. They're already kicking in an extra $100 every tournament. So, I encourage everybody around the area to come check it out because it's a lot of good guys, a lot of fun. It's a fun little lake to fish too. If you've never fished Moss, it can be quite humbling, but it's also a lot of fun, and it's a good group of people. So come out and
the
join us.
good thing about Moss is you're always like one bite away from winning.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like Norman.
It is.
It's like
It very
Norman.
is.
Everybody catches like last Thursday. I don't even know if you know this. So Jody Black won 16 something.
Yeah.
So I was there at the weigh-in helping them do the weigh-in. There was 2 over 6 weighed in,
Really?
like 3 or 4 over 5 weighed in.
Good girl.
And like several 4s weighed in.
Yeah.
It was 16, 14, 14, 14, 13, 12 was the
Some
top
good
6.
weights.
Yes.
Especially for that amount of boats.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's really good.
And you know, I think that I don't want to go out on a limb and say that the fish-off payout because the first event was so big that it'll be the biggest it's ever been. But I am going to go out and say that.
I see participation being there all year.
Well,
Like,
not only
it's
that,
gonna
but
be good.
there's going to be some extra stuff kicked into that fish-off, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Whether it's from Angler's Choice or Leonard's or whatever. So y'all see Mike around at Angler's Choice. You see Eric Yarborough over here at Leonard's. Who, Eric, I'm giving you a shout-out. You haven't actually donated anything yet, so now you're
now he's obligated.
pretty much screwed.
Yeah, I mean, he's
You
obligated.
got to do it now. Y'all tell him thanks. Thanks for the support because in the past, the Thursday nighters have been run pretty loosely. I mean, they were fine. Everything was fine.
Yeah.
But there were never live well checks. There was never extra money kicked in. There were never sponsors of the tournament. Things like that. It's a little bit more organized now, a little bit more professionally run, so to speak. And they're a lot of fun. So come out and join us. All right. The one more announcement, and Tyler brought this to my attention. Operation North State. Go to operationnorthstate.com. It is a take a vet fishing deal, right, Tyler?
Oh yeah, Vets and Wounded Warriors.
Vets
taking
and
them out
Wounded
on the water.
Warriors. They actually still need. They have a tournament at Lake Norman this coming Thursday.
April 20th.
April 20th. Oh, next Thursday, April 20th. Is that right? Yeah, next Thursday. And they still need some captains for that tournament. So it's a volunteer thing, but you can go to operationnorthstate.com and check that out. I know they have more events than just that one, too, right?
Yes, they do. They got spread out throughout the spring and summer, and they need captains for all of them. So
They need
there might be
captains for
one
all of
closer
them.
to your area you might be able to do.
Okay, cool. Don't forget, we have a trivia question in the show. We're going to give away one of Brian's sponsors, Blackfish Gear. We're going to give away a $50 gift card to them.
$50 gift card for them.
Yep.
They got some cool new stuff that they just released at the Classic as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, they got the new Rage boots, which is a waterproof boot, and then they've got 2 styles of shorts they released, the Drift and the Cast series.
Everybody
So-
needs a good rain boot. Gotta have a
Yeah,
good rain
and they're
boot.
great. Like I wore them that last day at Murray, and wore them at Norman, and wore them at Douglas. I wore them every tournament at least one day.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the forecast to come out for Murray for not necessarily practice, but tournament day. It'll probably be. You remember this? Well, you fished in it, yeah. So
Yeah,
the last few
yeah.
days, this past weekend was pretty horrendous.
Yeah.
But, all right, and the other half of that giveaway. So we're gonna have a $100 giveaway tonight on our trivia question. Be into the show for anybody that's never done this before. We have a live trivia question and $50 from Blackfish Gear, and then we have a $50 Pulse Fish Lures prize pack, including some of my spinning PJs and some Pulse jigs and assortment of some goodies from Pulse Fish Lures. So appreciate that from Todd at Pulse Fish, and appreciate that from Brian and Blackfish also.
Are you tagged out on turkeys now?
No,
How many can you?
are you gonna let me talk turkeys?
If you want to, yeah. I mean, we touch
No,
on
you
it
can
for
kill.
just a little bit.
So you can kill. I have a South Carolina, North Carolina license.
Oh, okay.
You
So
can
you-
kill 2 in South Carolina as a non-resident in the zones that I hunt,
Yeah.
and you can kill 2 in North Carolina. So I killed one in South Carolina last week.
Okay.
I killed one in North Carolina the day before.
Yeah, I knew you'd killed 2. I didn't know if they were both in North Carolina or not.
No. So I may or may not be going again in the morning to try to tag out North Carolina. So I will stay tuned. Stay tuned. I need to start like Instagram story in my turkey hunts or something. I thought about doing that. Would you follow Tyler? You don't care nothing about hunting.
Maybe. I just ain't ever been turkey hunt.
Yeah.
I seen those turkey nuggets you cook.
They ain't-
Yeah,
they
he
weren't
could have
bad.
brought
I
us
know,
some of
that's
those
about- he
good
coulda brought
Tyler.
us
So
some.
my wife even talked about those. She's like, Matt's made these turkey nuggets, and they look really, really good. And I'm thinking, well,
Brian, I got another bird in the freezer.
well, I haven't been invited. Have you been invited, Tyler?
Turkey
have,
nuggets.
Have you ate a turkey nugget?
Maybe
No,
we'll-
I haven't
No
either.
turkey nuggets here.
Maybe we'll fry them up before the show. All right. I just want, while we're on that subject, I want everybody's advice on this because I know we got some turkey hunters on here, and I'm not going to talk turkey hunting. Don't worry.
It's too late.
So
I
I've
opened up the
used about
can.
every breading there is out there, and the only thing I hadn't done yet is soak the nuggets in pickle juice. I need to do that because
Yeah.
everybody preaches about that all
I
the
mean,
time.
it's good on chicken. I don't know why it wouldn't be good on
Right,
turkey.
right. So I've used a House Altry chicken breader. I've used a House Altry fish breader. I've used the Louisiana fish fry, and I've used the Uncle Buck's brand that you get from Bass Pro. And I'm gonna be honest with you, of all those, minus some homemades, that Uncle Buck's is the best I've ever had. That's the best breading I've ever had. So if y'all know of something better, or you got a recipe for some good breading for some fried wild turkey nuggets or chicken nuggets or fish. I just said that,
We just
Jeff.
said
Jeff
that, Jim.
screams
Jeff
pickle juice from the other room. All right. Just hang out in there, Jeff. We'll holler if we need you. But if y'all got better recipes or better breading ideas or brands that I have not tried that I need to check out, shoot them over to us. I'd love to see those. All right,
You need to get Jeff to buy like a KFC franchise, and then you'd have the original recipe, and you could dip them in that.
No, you mean Chick-fil-A?
Or KFC, whichever one.
KFC sells nuggets?
They got good fried chicken. No, it's breading, Matt. It goes on anything.
Oh, John Williams said soak it in jalapenos. I'd get
Ooh,
into
now
that
does sound like a pickled jalapeno.
Yeah, buddy.
That
Yeah,
might
buddy.
be good.
Ryan said I hadn't shared my turkey nuggets for years. That's not true. My mom and dad came over and ate some with me last night. All right, let's back it up. So
I still wasn't invited. So.
we haven't been in the show. We haven't been in the studio since the Bassmaster Classic, the Douglas BPT, and the Lake Murray BPT. So
We got a lot to talk about.
which one was first? We'll just go in order. Was it the Classic or Douglas?
Douglas was
All right,
first,
let's
yeah.
back up to Douglas Lake BPT.
Yeah.
Keith Poche won that event.
Keith Poche
who was
won.
also fishing the Classic that
I
week.
know, that's
it was,
crazy.
It's so funny because I'd be in the boatyard and I'd see him slide in there and then he'd be gone in the next second and I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, he's fishing the tournament. So yeah, but congrats to Keith, man. That was pretty cool.
that was pretty awesome.
Talk about that tournament and it was obviously super, super tough. I got to watch a little bit of it. I was at the Classic.
It was very tough for me and a lot of the guys, but the guys that caught them, they always make it look easy, which kind of hurts your feelings. Like they just go wherever and catch them.
Yeah, but
and I'm
even-
struggling to get a bite.
It
but-
didn't look easy. There wasn't nobody catching a ton of fish.
Right, that's very true. But so I don't think I've ever seen what was happening at Douglas anywhere ever in my life. And Matt, tell me if you've ever saw this. So the water was in the mid 50s, 55 to 56 degrees, and there was a massive shad die-off. So we had a couple of weeks of warm weather, obviously during Red Crest and all that. Water was up in the, mid 60s. Fish were starting to spawn at Norman. And then we had some really cold nights right before the Douglas event. And I don't know if that 10-degree drop in water temp actually started that shad die-off, even though the water wasn't that cold. So I didn't think shad would actually start dying off until the water got in the mid-40s. But anyway, the water's in the mid-50s, and there's dead shad. They're dying everywhere, and the fish are just gorging themselves. I mean, when you caught one, it was fat, it was healthy, and it weighed a lot. Like, it was heavy, heavy fish. And I feel like that was a little bit of my struggle because I never could get dialed in on how to get those fish to feed that were already gorging on those dead shad. I ended up catching all my fish on a jerkbait, Mega Bass Vision 110. And I kind of used some different techniques. So, because you would think shad die off shad pattern jerkbaits, but I ended up
Normally.
throwing a red jerkbait. Like, it was solid red, like the color of that Zot package.
Like cherry red.
Like cherry red.
Was it Hanks? Was it the Stunner?
No, I was throwing the Mega Bass.
Okay.
Yeah. But so that's how I caught all my fish. And it was just a slow go for me. And I actually thought it was going to turn out better than it was because the place I started both days, I would catch one or two really quick. Like I'd be one of the first guys on Score Tracker. And I kind of get excited, hey, we're getting the ball rolling. We got a couple fish in the boat. We got 5 hours left to catch them. But that first day, I never could catch a limit. I only caught, I think, 3 scorables the whole day. I ended up getting 10 bites that first day, and 3 of them were scoreable. And the second round, I got 8 bites, and all of them were scoreable. So that's just the way it goes sometimes. If I'd have caught 2 more scoreables that first day, I'd have made the cut easily. Made it over to Cherokee and had some fun with those smallmouth. But all in all, Douglas Lake's a great lake. I wouldn't mind going back under some different conditions not even different conditions. I really enjoyed the way the lake fished and the way it laid out, but it just didn't work out this time for me. I ended up missing 1 day of practice, and I don't know if it would have helped me much even if I had been there, but it was fun all in all. And I love going back and watching the shows after the fact. I'm sure you do the same.
Yeah, so the little bit I got to watch, I did notice something very interesting. The drains were obviously a big deal. Y'all had a bunch of rain.
Yeah.
So the drains, anybody that doesn't know, you want to explain to them kind of what that drain bite is? Anybody that doesn't know what that is and how the fish kind of seem to react to it that time of year, especially when it's warm rain?
Yeah, so what we're talking about when we talk about a drain bite, and this applies to pretty much every lake.
A lot of the Ozark lakes.
Yeah, a lot of the Ozark lakes, even herring lakes. So if you pay attention to how Casey Ashley won the Classic on Hartwell a few years back, he caught them throwing an underspin in the drains. But what happens is these long, narrow pockets, I mean, not really narrow, but just long pockets that have some type of feeder creek, some type of run-in the back of them that's bringing fresh water when you get a good rain. Those herring, those shad, all the bait fish will kind of migrate back there during the spring of the year to get to that warmer water, that warm runoff where, you know, the water in 20 or 30 feet of a lake is going to be a lot cooler than the fresh water running into the lake. So that bait will congregate toward the middle to back half of these long drains, arms, pockets, whatever you want to call them. And the largemouth and spots and smallmouth will kind of gravitate that way as well because they know that's where their food source is going. And you can catch them a number of ways. I mean, some of my favorite is, I mean, if you look at the Lake Norman event, the first 4 days, I caught them on that Demiki underspin in a drain, and we were catching them at Douglas on a jerkbait in the drain. But what I think one bite that I missed on Douglas was I was going with that mentality of I needed to be in the drains fishing because that's what I like to do, and that's what I've always known, you know, in an early pre-spawn type bite is those fish will congregate in those drains. But when I go back and watch the live after the fact, I notice all the guys that really caught them well are running like flat main lake points, which makes absolutely no sense to me. I know the only thing I can figure is maybe that lower water level had those main lake fish and the little bit of color in the water pulled up a little tighter to the bank. I don't know, but, you know, the guys that did well caught a lot of fish on those main lake flatter sloping points, you know, where your boat's sitting in 6 to 8 feet of water and you're 40 yards off the bank. So you're a good ways off the bank on a flat sloping point.
When you say color in the water, how colored was it where a lot of those guys were catching them like that?
So, I mean, we really had a lot of different options on Douglas as far as watercolor goes. Like you could go from the lower end where you had probably the most visibility was 3 feet. And then you'd get in sections where you had, you know, 12 to 18 inches of visibility.
Okay, so yeah.
So it was just a good, but it wasn't like a fresh, like you can't catch them in it mud.
Like
it was like
settled,
it was just a good settled stain, like optimum time for, you know, getting up on the bank and throwing something. But I just would have never thought to be out on a flat.
I was impressed because so the shad dying. Did you ever see what size they were exactly?
Oh, yeah.
So how big were they?
So most of the shad were like 3 to 4 inches long, like good size shad.
Okay,
like,
not great big, not big stuff.
Not big giant ones, but yeah, just
last
the smaller,
year's hatch probably.
Yeah, smaller thread fins.
I noticed Sheffield, it was impressive. He caught a lot of them on his forward-facing sonar with a big glide.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was interesting to me. That was one of the things that stood out in that tournament. Caught some really nice ones on it, and he said he'd have one followed about every cast. You know, which is typical.
And that's the thing. Like with that water being down on the Humminbird Mega Live, like you would spend all day throwing at fish you could see. Like I hate to know how many bass is in Douglas Lake if everything we were seeing was bass because they are literally everywhere. And a lot of them wouldn't bite, but you would throw it 20 or 30 or 40 of them, and then one of them would bite, and you're like, oh, they're going to start biting, and then throw it 30 or 40 more, and another one.
I heard a lot of guys saying, oh, there's, you know, I've had a fish follow my jerk bait on every other cast or something.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of them were bass. It didn't seem like they were in a real, like you said, the shad die-off sometimes make them a little thicker.
I think that was our biggest demise at Douglas was that shad die-off. I think that, and plus we had a full moon that week, so I'm sure those fish were feeding heavily at night. I mean, there's no way there was a hungry bass swimming around on Lake Douglas that week we were there because there were so many shad in that lake.
That's funny because, you know, we talk about the weather and how it influenced y'all's tournament. And if you just roll right into the classic practice, our 3-day practice period was, I don't know, 21 one morning.
So y'all's practice period was our tournament period.
Yeah, the final days, the final couple days, right?
Right. Well, no,
Friday,
y'all's
Sunday.
first day of practice was my first day of the tournament.
Friday.
No, y'all's last day of practice, Sunday, was my first day of the tournament.
Okay.
Where it was like,
yeah, it was 20-something.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever fished a day before where I had ice freezing on my line and my guides at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like it was cold.
That's yeah, it was. So the third day of practice for the Classic, which was that Sunday. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw this on Douglas, but we witnessed some snowflakes on Loudon.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was snowing.
Snowflakes.
Yep.
Now fast forward to the first day of the Bassmaster Classic, which is on.
They were hitting me in the face in the tournament.
Fast forward to Friday, the first day of the Classic, and it's 75 that day.
Oh, yeah.
Our off day, it was like 78 on Thursday during media day. It gradually warmed up during the week. Loudon Tellico still sucked like it always does. I'm sorry, it's just the worst. It's the worst lake on the Tennessee River system. Can you name one that's worse on the Tennessee River system?
I mean, I don't particularly care for a lot of them.
But can you name one that's legitimately worse than Loudon
That's
Tellico?
legitimately worse.
Historically, weight-wise.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Yeah, it's like not
I mean,
even
we went to
close.
Watts Bar last year, and it wasn't much better.
Well,
probably
it's right
about-
next to Loudon Tellico.
Yeah, it was very similar.
Maybe that has something
It
to
was
do
very
with it. You got to
similar.
get on down to Chick before you actually get into like more bass.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I honestly think it's so funny because you put your boat in Loudon Tellico and you ride around, water down, water up, doesn't matter. And it's got so much good looking stuff.
Right.
Like rock, natural rock, man-made rock, docks, turns, channel swings, red clay, sand, you name it.
Everything
it's got
you could want.
everything, laydowns. It's got everything you want. You can run over to Tellico and fish gin clear water. It's got deep fish, shallow fish, in-between fish. The problem is it just doesn't have any fish.
Yeah. And
I just kinda
how many
contradicted
guys
myself,
at the
but it's
Classic
true.
actually caught a limit all 3 days? I know Gussie, the winner, didn't.
About 6 maybe?
Oh, so that's more than I would have thought.
5 or 6 caught
Yeah.
a limit every. I told Emily, I said, if I can just catch a limit every day, I'll just keep going. Whoop, 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 whoop,
Oh,
whoop.
yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but I'll come out. You may know this. So the first day, the last like 7 or 8 miles of that lake. Well, let me back up and talk about practice.
Hey,
Practice.
Jeff, we got 2 comments. We need a curtain in here over the window. Okay.
Oh, need a curtain over the window, Jeff.
We got a glare.
Could you just come stand in front of it while the show's going on? He said, I'll be right there. Yeah, I don't see him coming. So I caught like a big one every day in pre-practice, but I didn't get, like I hardly caught 5, like 4 or 5 bites, you know. And they were spread out from 25 miles up Tellico to almost, past Louisville on Loudon Tellico.
Yeah.
Or on Loudon. I ended up spending the majority of my tournament on Tellico, and the only reason was it's funny how many guys on such a big lake and 100 miles of water start getting into similar rotations.
Right.
And I was just like, I can go over there. The only other boat that was over there was Gussie, who won the tournament.
Right.
And Porosnik was over there. I think there was 3 of us that made the cut out of Tellico. I would start on Loudon and kind of work my way over. And, it's no secret what I was doing. I was throwing a 1/2 ounce jig.
Yeah.
And I thought, I kept that in my hand. It's a confidence bait for me. I thought I could get some, if I kept it in my hand all day, I could get a couple
And
big
you've won
bites.
a lot of tournaments in that same scenario on that jig.
Yeah, but I was fishing a lot. I fished a lot more rock. I tried to make that work there, and I caught a few
like
off a
you
rock.
do at Beaver.
Yeah, but it was more. They were honestly more of a dock bite on Tellico for
really?
me. Now, when I say a
It
bite,
wasn't full block.
yeah, let me
Like you hoping for 5 a day.
take that with a grain of salt. I went over there and ran 60 miles, thinking I might can catch 5 keepers on my jig over here.
Yeah.
And the first day, I ran all my stuff on Loudon. I had some jerkbait stuff on Loudon. I was fishing and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other, and caught some short fish. And I get over to Tellico the first day. It's 12 o'clock, and I ain't got a bass.
Right.
I don't have a bass. 12 o'clock. First day of the Classic, I ain't got a bass. And I get over there and start running my stuff, and I pull up on one place, and I catch 2 smallmouth off of a stump, and I know they were on the bed.
Yeah.
And the water was 50-something degrees. It was snowing 5 days before. Probably the first smallmouth to spawn in the whole lake.
Really?
Gussie's still out there cracking them 30 feet deep. And the reason I say I pitch in there and I hop my jig over a stump that was next to a dock, and I just barely could see it on my forward-facing sonar.
Yeah.
And I pop my jig up, my line just goes, boom, it takes off real fast. I swing and I miss. I'm like, God, it felt like a smallmouth. Acted like a
Yeah.
smallmouth. Threw back in there and I caught it. It was a 16.5 incher. And I said, I wasn't even thinking like bed.
Yeah.
I flipped back in there and caught an 18.25 incher.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, a smallmouth is spawning. Well, I didn't catch another one the rest of the tournament doing that. So.
And look, I've never seen, and you may have seen, have you ever seen smallmouth paired up?
Not visually, but
No,
obviously they do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Obviously they do, but
Now, and I'm
like
assuming these were spawning.
Yeah.
I mean,
but in all my years of seeing smallmouth on the bed, I've never seen 2 smallmouth paired up.
I've even asked some of the guys from up north, like Gussie and the guys that see
Yeah.
him all the time, and I swear Gussie only told me he's seen it like one time or something.
Yeah.
And you're talking like Chad Pickens and them. You're talking about guys that
Right,
seen
guys that
thousands of smallmouth
grew
on the
up
bed.
doing that.
Right. So I get back up in the Loudon the first day, and I'm trying to catch a big one. I got 10.5 pounds. And I see a couple boats around me fishing. I'm within about 10 miles of the ramp.
Yeah.
And Mark Fraser goes by me, and I said, I guess I better go. And I'm looking at my map. And this is where I screwed up.
I remember this.
I followed Mark in, and there's another boat way behind me that I don't even know who it is, but it's one of our guys. He's way behind me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm all right, you know. Got the pedal to the metal and run up the river, and I get closer and closer and closer, and I'm looking at my clock going, this ain't good. This ain't good. I've never been late to check in a day in my life. And I rolled up in there 27 seconds late.
Oh, my God.
Mark Fraser rolled up in there 25 seconds late. Him and I take a pound penalty the first day. Pat Schlapper's the one behind me, by the way.
Hell, there were three of you there.
Wait a minute. Pat Schlapper's the one behind me. He's 2 minutes late when he gets in. And then I look down the river, and here comes another boat. Whoa, and it's Luke Palmer, and he's 3 minutes late. 4 of us were late the first day.
Oh,
and
my God.
it ended up costing Palmer the day 3 cut.
Yeah.
Because he caught a big one and had a couple more the second day. It did not cost me the cut, thank goodness, because that was a little extra pocket change there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it didn't cost me the win.
And
so.
plus, it's good airtime response. I mean, you're going across stage 3 days instead of 2.
That's right.
I mean-
That's right. I thought you was talking about me being late was good for my sponsors. I was like,
I mean, if you could have got a deal with Timex before the next day, you probably would have been.
Oh,
good.
no, my GPS on Mile Ranch was right. I was just wrong. My measurements were not right. And you know, I'm
Your
not.
calculations of point A to point B were
Yeah, the
wrong.
river does this like the last like 6
Oh,
or
you was
7
going
miles.
as the crow flies.
No, I just looked at it and I was like, oh, it's like 6.6 miles away. So I'm like, oh, it's probably 11.
Yeah.
You know, so and I was wrong.
It
I was
like
wrong.
13.
Yep. So anyway,
You know the biggest smallmouth I've ever caught in my life? I caught a
Teleco.
teleco off the bed.
you remember that one that Brent Long caught in the tournament over there? It was like a 7-pounder, wasn't it? He caught it on
I
Loudon.
don't know.
He caught like a 7 or a 6.15 or
Yeah,
something.
it was. I remember him catching a big one. Yeah, mine was a 6.3. That's the biggest smallmouth I've ever caught.
I've never caught a 6. I've caught 5.14s and 13s. I've never caught a 6.
I've only caught 2. I caught a 6.1 at St. Lawrence when we were there for the BPT.
Yeah, Mike Harris said he agrees. He said those 2 are the worst. Watts Bar's not far behind.
I agree with that.
Shit. I'm starting to see.
Not taking nothing from Watts Bar, because if you want to go catch white bass, it's a phenomenal lake. Like, there are giant schools of white bass on Watts Bar, and they're really fun. They bite good.
Maybe that's why the bass fishing sucks there, because all the white
I don't
bass is
know.
eating everything.
But there's a lot of them.
All right, so the Classic, congrats to Gussie.
Yeah,
A heck of a
that was
performance. It
pretty
was funny.
amazing.
He played that very well, because the canal talk during practice was like, you know, oh, everybody's in there. Everybody's going to be in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be. And, you know, that's a very unique situation, because I'd say 99.9% of the tournaments we fish, we don't go back the next year if the lake goes back. We
Right,
go,
especially not the same time of
and
year.
it's never won in the same spot. Even if it's the same time of the year, it's never
Yeah,
won in the
that's
same
true.
spot,
That's very
the
true.
same way. Well, if you look at a map of Loudon and Tellico, and you look at that canal, and you look at the way that it all sets up right there, you have a massive boat ramp where all the major tournaments go out of, right behind the canal.
I'm
Okay,
steadily eating zots.
so you have release fish every day or every week. Okay, they swim out, and there's a canal that has current, food, cover, and clear water, everything a big smallmouth needs to live in.
Yep.
There's no reason for them to ever leave that canal, and the more that are dumped in down there, it's just like a constantly replenishing deal. On top of that, I treat that canal almost like you would the Pickwick Dam. It's one of
Right.
those things that when it's firing, it fires, and when it's not, it's not. It doesn't matter how much pressure it gets. It doesn't matter
Right.
how many people fish there.
Like, if they decide to buy you, you better be there.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, what Gussie did, though, is I think, I'm going to call him out a little bit. I think he was trying to draw more attention to that canal during practice.
He wanted
and letting
everybody
people
in that.
kind of talk about it, because he took the same technique and he just slid out in a Tellico,
Yeah.
a couple miles up the lake, within a mile of the dam. And
So he was still getting a little bit of that current, residual current.
correct. He got
Yeah.
a couple places, and he was able to find just basically fish that were just out deep, holding on nothing, roaming around,
Right.
more or less. I don't think they were really holding. I saw a couple pictures of his down imaging when he was dropping on them,
Yeah.
or his forward facing, whatever. But he's basically dropping on them right there next to his trolling motor. And like I couldn't even see a fish, dude. And all of a sudden, you'd see the bottom just whoop,
Whoop, rise up.
and
yep.
there'd be 2 or 3. He'd hook it, and there'd be 2 or 3 just come out of nothing. Like they'd be so tight at the bottom, you know, there was something there.
Yeah.
But long story short,
like a little hard spot or
yeah, that
something
was
there.
very well played. And
He played, y'all.
I mean, I knew them guys targeted them smallmouth had a chance to win.
Oh, yeah.
If I was going to win the Bassmaster Classic, it wasn't going to be out there beating Gussie at what he's best in the world at,
No.
or one of the best in the world at.
That's
You know what I'm
hard to
saying?
do.
So, and he's got so much confidence doing that. Like he almost slipped a little bit that final day.
Oh, he
Canterbury
did.
was on his heels.
Yeah, Schmidt
and
was on his
Schmidt was
heel.
on his heels.
Yep.
I would have been surprised if either one of them boys won it because I think they caught 100% largemouth the entire tournament.
Yeah.
And that would have really surprised me. I think it
Yeah.
would have surprised everybody.
And it kind of shows you, like with the warming trend y'all had during the Classic, when Gussie had that slip up day, you still didn't see the largemouth guys come in with a 18 to 20 pound bag of pre-spawn largemouth that pulled up in that
Right.
warmer water. So that right there tells you that,
The fish ain't in there.
yeah.
I mean, it was like to Brian's point, the weather, the evolution of the weather throughout the actual tournament and the
Yeah.
days leading up to the tournament after the pre-practice period, which was horrendous. A whole week we had a gradual warming trend at the end of March. Everywhere in the country should have been firing.
Yeah.
Everywhere, except there.
Well,
And-
Douglas, they weren't either.
But you were in the middle of the nasty front.
That's true.
The following weekend, it was probably a lot better.
Yeah, that's true.
Douglas
That is
has a
very
few
true.
more bass than Loudon and Tellico. So, shout out to my roommate Canterbury for a strong third place showing. Shout out to Gussie for the win. Shout out to Schmidt for finishing second. I know he was bummed, and I also know exactly how that feels. By the way, I won 2 bets from Schmitty,
Did you?
2 side dollar bets.
How much? What's the dollar
It
amount?
was
We need the
$10 per bet. So I won $20.
So $20.
I made him sign it, and it's actually in my console in my Tundra. I need to get it out and put it on my shelf down there.
Nice.
It can replace the one that the boy wrapped in my truck.
You know what we should do? We should start a bet wall right here.
A bet wall?
Yeah. Of like just whenever we do a bet with
Just
a
like
fellow
nail 'em
eight.
up there?
Yeah, or just tape them or something.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Well, as long as we don't
What's
have
that?
anybody in here claiming they're
What
theirs and
was
going
the
to
bet?
Bojangles and spending it. Remember?
What was the bet?
So the first bet was that it would not take over 20 pounds to make the day 3 cut, and he said it absolutely will. Well, come to find out, Schmidt was on him, so he had good reason to believe that. It took like 17 something to make the day 3 cut, so I won that one. The other one was that whoever won was going to catch some of their fish out of the canal,
Yeah.
and he said, "Nah, I don't think so." And I said, "Yeah, they will." And Gussie caught a couple out of the canal.
Oh yeah.
So I won both bets.
Nice.
It's funny. I made that bet and I didn't do worth the flow. I mean, I didn't. I made the day 3 cut, but that was all she wrote after that. But that my roommate, so Scott Martin, he fished that canal pretty hard and heavy both days, and he knew if he caught 3 or 4 out of there, he'd be way ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah.
And they just didn't fire. in
And
there
see, I
good.
thought that's what you'd see guys do. I thought you'd see guys running that canal, cherry pick 2 or 3 hours, and then run somewhere and
Three guys did that. Well,
get a big
Austin Felix, Drew Benton, Scott Martin started in there every day. Zaldane might have been around the area. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did see Cody Huff over in Tellico fishing deep.
Yeah.
The bad thing about that is the 18-inch size limit on smallmouth, which most people that watch Classic knew that. You could really go out deep and be on them pretty good and weigh in 1 keeper a day,
Right.
too.
Catch
that's-
15, 16 pounds, but only have one.
Yeah, only have 1 keeper.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's what Cody Huff was doing. I just saw him out deep on Tellico. So, all right, let's. God, what was next? Oh, Lake Murray. So
Lake Murray. Lake Murray.
Any questions? Y'all shoot them over to us. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I do see.
All in all, though, it's been a great start to the fishing season, we'll call it, with the MLF and the BPT this year. I mean, I feel like we've had some good events.
Yeah.
Like, we've had some tough events. Like, it doesn't seem like any of them have been easy.
Yeah.
And I think that makes for good TV.
Yeah, I think that's the way it should be. I mean, Okeechobee and Seminole weren't easy by no means. And a lot of people get the misconception when they see the weights being good, the 5 bass limit
Yeah.
tournament. It's not like we're not always going out there and catching 40 fish a day. A lot of times we're catching 6 to 8. You can see that on Bass Track and things like that too. So, Matt Robertson probably did, Jeremy, have the most fun at the Classic. Did you get to see him drink the beer out of the boot?
I did the last day.
Yeah. So
Don't know if I would have went that route, but kudos.
well,
to him.
he kind of put himself in the corner. Then
I think
Mercer-
it was staged. It
No,
seemed staged.
that wasn't staged.
It wasn't
No,
staged?
that wasn't staged.
Okay.
So Mercer put him in the corner and called him out, and then of course all the fans went crazy, and
Yeah.
he's like,
I thought
Robertson,
it was
you-
staged because somebody handed him a beer when he went up to
"Oh
go
no,
on the
he
stage.
had 2 that he cracked together on his boat and
Oh,
dumped
man.
all over him." I'm sure. Oh, so
Yeah, but then somebody handed him one before he walked on stage.
yeah. Well, maybe
Either way, I mean,
maybe
it's-
it was. I don't think it was because he looked pretty. I asked him about it afterwards, and he said, "I can't believe I did that. He's just kind of disappointed that they put me in put me in a corner, a little bit. So,
Yeah.
and but if you gonna make a bet with Robertson, he's probably gonna do it. So
Yeah, I can
just
see
be
that.
willing to
I can
lose
see
whatever
that.
you bet to him. So anyway, all right. I gotta tell you something funny.
You drank a beer out of a shoe, too.
No.
didn't you?
Did you get to see me weigh in? I think it was the final day, and a guy threw a Zot on the stage.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
That was awesome.
So funny story. So he's a fan. He's a fan of the show. Shout out, by the way, because
Yes.
you know how much we love Zots. Obviously, I get back home. I pull the boat. So the boats come in and they go around like the little VIP section where everybody
Yeah.
gets down front. Well, he threw a Zot on the stage. Well, apparently when my boat went around, he was throwing Zots in my boat. Well, I didn't know it. So I get back to Shelby and I parked the boat in the shop.
You got Zots everywhere.
And I get down in there and start messing with some tackle, and I'm like, I see a Zot over there next to my drain in the corner, and I look around, and underneath, behind the hot foot, there's like 3 or 4 more. There's like 5 Zots in the floor, and I'm like, where did those come from? And then it hit me. I'm like, when my boat was going by, and he was throwing Zots in the boat.
That's
Yeah.
pretty good, though.
Thank you for the Zots. They're all gone, by the way. So, that was pretty funny. So, all right, so you.
I just turned my screen sideways.
Yeah, I get some comments about talking about Murray. I can't solicit information, ask information, but anything that's public, like Brian can go over everything he did at Murray. It's a public resource. Anybody can utilize it by watching or listening to this show. I can't solicit information from Brian, especially privately off the show. But he can give a rundown of the Lake Murray tournament, and basically everything he's going to say, I'm sure, is public knowledge on the internet, and if not, it will be
Tyler, I lost my
as this show
comment
airs.
feed.
Brian lost his comments. Do you still have the show?
Yeah, I got the show, but I got nothing else.
Tyler's coming to help you. Just be still. Oh man, Ryan's up in Michigan,
Don't click on that.
and he said bass season isn't even open yet here in Michigan. It's May 27th. Man,
Told you not to click on that.
that's tough. That's tough. That Nate said he got to see Robertson drink the beer at the bar. That's pretty awesome. All right,
just
we
gonna
already
go
got
out
some
and come back
questions. We already got some questions. Brian, you ready? Are you okay?
No, I got to go out and come back in because my phone went stupid.
Well, just connect to the Wi-Fi here. Bobby McPherson said he was following you on Thursday. I guess that was at
I'm
Lake
back.
Murray. He's back.
Click what?
He's back. He's over here
The X?
paranoid.
3 lines. Got it.
Anybody that watches or listens to this show should not be surprised at all right
Hey,
now.
we're back.
Brian's
We're back.
having phone problems.
We're back.
All right.
Now, what did you say? Oh, thank you, Bobby.
Dive into your Lake Murray recap.
Lake Murray. That was fun. So,
It's a little bit more fun than Douglas, I'm sure. Oh, by the way,
A lot
shout out to our boy Louis Minetti, who was on the show when you weren't here, and I had Louis Minetti on the show, along with who else was in here with us? that
LaHue.
night? Oh yeah, Shane LaHue and sorry Shane, LaHue and Louis Minetti, and Minetti made the day 3 cut at the Classic, which is pretty cool.
oh, nice.
So yeah, Lewis had a good tournament, and I know he had a ball, needless to say. But what's up, Todd Goad? Again, shout
Did
out.
Todd inside? Yeah,
Yeah,
there
he's
is
on.
Mr. Todd.
Shout out to my boy Todd and the Pulse Fish Lures giveaway tonight. So, all right, let's. I know we're getting close. Well, it's 7:41. We still got a little time.
Yeah, we got a little time.
Dive into Murray because I know there's a lot more to talk about that tournament than there was the other two. It wasn't quite as a grind fest.
So Murray was
Fun to watch.
fun. Like we hit it. Like I want to say we hit it absolutely perfectly, but I don't know that we did because I think it's capable of being better than it was. But it was pretty phenomenal. Like I've heard for years, Murray's the best lake in South Carolina right now, and I haven't been down there. And for years, with being in the area I'm from, I don't ever really get down to the Heron Lakes for a herring spawn type bite. So I've never seen it before, and I've always called it a myth. I'm like, that's a myth. It doesn't exist. Well, it does exist. I'm here to tell you. That's how I caught all my bass at Lake Murray. I was catching them on a 5-inch Damiki armor shad, fishing points. And, it's a fun bite because you could tell when you would get on a place that nobody had been messing with. And I had like 5 or 6 places that I really wanted to fish that I knew there were some bigger fish. And I was running them the first couple of days. And then after that, I would just run random points or places I would run down the lake. I'd look over there. Oh, that's a decent looking point. That looks like a place a heron would spawn. I'd run over there, throw that armor shad. And it was cool because you could tell when you pulled up on a group of fish that hadn't been messed with yet. And you would catch them really quick. You'd set the boat down, you'd catch 5 or 6 really quick. And I kind of compared it to how, we fish a lot at Moss Lake, Matt. Like just that run and gun style. You're fishing a specific spot. You're fishing that point. Run up there, make 5 or 6 casts. Run to the next one, make 5 or 6 casts until you run into a fresh group of fish. And that's kind of how I approached the event. I never sight fished. Well, I can't say I never sight fished. The first day I did catch 1 3-pounder off the bed that I weighed, and the rest of the time it was all herring fish on that Demiki Armor Shad. And it was really fun. Like I said, that was the first time I'd ever gotten to experience that herring spawn bite, and I think this was probably the first week of it getting going, and I think it's only going to get better. Like I think when we were there, we were getting kind of the first wave of fish to get up on that herring bite, and it should be even better when y'all are there in another week or two, I think. But I don't know much about the herring bite.
I don't either.
The only thing I do know about it is it's really fun. The only downfall to it is the bass will actually be on specific points, and you could pull into a stretch and there'd be 10 points, but all the fish are on this one. And everybody knows that, because if they see a boat sitting on that point, they know there's fish there. So then when the tournament starts, it's like a minor miracle to get on that point, because everybody's wanting to be out there having fun, fishing, catching fish. So the final day of our event, I ended up making the top 10, and my 2 best places I never got to fish until, I say I didn't get to fish. I didn't get to make a cast on them until 3:30 after the other local tournament had already left to weigh in. So that was Murray in a nutshell.
So
I got something in my eye.
And Andy Montgomery had a top 10.
Yeah, Montgomery
So
had a top
both y'all
10.
had a
I
good
think
finish.
he right there around me. I think he ended up either 7th or 9th.
Y'all
or
were
something.
back to back, 8th and 9th. Is that right?
Was he behind? I didn't know
Were you
if he
eighth?
was. Yeah, I was in 8th.
I think it was 9th. Yeah.
Okay, so he was right behind me. But
Yep.
yeah, the Carolina boys showed out. Anthony won it. Congrats to Anthony. I mean, that's his home lake, and it's like I like to see home lake guys win. Like I think it's good.
Yeah, and Anthony, I read his deal with Bassmaster today.
Yeah, I
about
read
how
that
his
too.
practice wasn't great, and kind of. But we've said this a million times. When you win a tour level event, it's very rare that you go into that event saying, "I got a
I'm
really
gonna
good
win."
shot at winning this tournament."
Yeah.
Yeah. Things evolve during the
Like
tournament.
you've got a plan A, B, C, and D, and deep down, like, hey, if all this works, I'm going to at least put myself in a position to win.
Right.
Like that doesn't
Yep.
mean you're going to win, because
if all this works, that's
right,
a pretty
if
big
all
statement.
this works. And that's what I said to a lot of guys after I won at Lake Norman at Redcrest. I was like, it's so rare for a plan to come together that flawlessly, where A, B, and C all works. And, that was the kind of same thing that happened with Anthony. And, watching Anthony, I look back to Lake Norman and how I found fish the week of the tournament that, I didn't know about or found actually during that week. And I think that's the same thing he did at Lake Murray. I don't think that deal he was using to actually win the tournament, I don't think that's something he'd done a lot at Lake Murray. I think that's something he figured out actually in the 2 days of practice. And, he just... The cool thing about having that local knowledge of a lake is it gives you a chance to look for that wild card during practice. Like you've got backups. You're like, all right, I know that, worst case scenario, I can probably go do some of this and get a check, or at least maybe compete a little bit. So that frees up your official practice time to go look for that needle in the haystack to find those winning fish. I think that's where the local advantage comes into play.
Yeah, and it helps you duplicate a potential pattern quicker,
Right,
because
yeah.
you know the lay of the lake.
Yeah.
What was interesting is how he, I mean, the way he caught them on a drop shot on forward-facing sonar on deeper than average stuff, and I watched him catch that 8-pounder that final day, which I feel like was spawning on that rock or stump or whatever he caught it off of, and target those fish and be so efficient with a spinning rod, drop shot.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you got a herring spawn, you got a little bit of a shad spawn starting, you got topwater fishing up the river, you got guys swimming jigs, frogging, sight fishing, throwing ploppers.
It was everything.
And it was one on a drop shot.
Yeah.
And
Pretty much anything in 10 feet of water or less, and you were golden.
Yeah. That, I'm watching y'all's tournament, and everybody's like, oh, Matt, Murray's on fire. I bet you can't wait to get there. I said, you know what's going to happen between the time they leave and the time we get there? I said, every fish in the lake's going to be caught 17 times because the locals are going to be out there in full force after watching that go down. And that, like Brian said, I think all Hare lakes are somewhat similar in that they only get on certain places, and do all the locals know those places?
Yeah, but the cool thing about it is, too, though, there's always an off-the-wall place or two that the locals don't know about until after the tournament when a pro shows them.
Yeah.
So if you're the guy that finds that one spot out that they're only there because they've been pushed off of everything else, you can win.
Yeah. All right, you got a couple questions talking about
man.
your armor shad rigging.
What I do now?
Did you lose something again? I'll just direct the questions to you. Don't worry about
Well,
it.
now all I got is messages. I can't even see the screen.
Don't worry about it. Well, you don't need to see me and you,
Oh, now
and
I
I.
closed it all the way out.
Tyler.
This
You'll be
is
all right. You'll be all right.
ridiculous.
So, Nick's Kayak Bass Fishing wants to know your armor shad rigging.
My screen's sideways again.
Don't worry about your phone. You don't even need it.
All right, I'm going to watch it sideways. Can't see any comments. So Matt's going to have to tell me. So what are we talking about?
Nick's Kayak Bass Fishing wants to know about your armor shad rigging.
Oh, my armor shad rigging. So I was throwing my 5-inch armor shad. I was throwing the Pro Blue color, which is kind of a transparent shaddy color, I'll call it.
Like what we call a blue glimmer, kind of, something like that.
Yeah, but a little more transparent than a traditional blue glimmer. So I was throwing that when it was sunny, and then on cloudy days or early in the morning, I was throwing a pearl white, something just a little bit brighter the fish could see better. And I was just throwing it on a standard worm hook, a 5/0 worm hook, and I was throwing it on a 7.3 medium heavy Fitzgerald stunner rod with a 7:2 gear ratio Fitzgerald stunner or VLD 10 reel. And I was throwing it on 17-pound P-line fluorocarbon. And speaking of the P-line fluorocarbon, the entire month of April,
Oh, yeah, the BOGO deal.
yeah, there's a BOGO deal on the Blue Box 100% fluorocarbon from 2-pound tests up to 30-pound tests. Buy one, get one free. So if you're looking to stock up on the best fluorocarbon on the market between now and the end of April, go to any of your retailer online, buy one, get one free, and get stocked up. That's on the 250-yard spools. I know it's the line I've been using ever since I started my career, and I know Matt's been with them a really long time. He may have started his career with them as well.
I did.
But some of the best line on the market. You can't beat a buy one, get one free on it.
Yeah, I have been using P-line since 2005.
Yeah, that's my rookie year was 2007, but I was using it like you said.
Yeah,
before
I
that,
didn't even have
before
a
we
deal
started.
with them until probably, I don't know, 9 or 10. Oh,
I was
9,
the same way.
10.
Yeah, it might have been
And
later than that.
I don't know, me and you, I guess we started using it about the same time.
Yeah.
But that deal, I shared it to my social pages. I know you shared it. But yeah, they don't. I don't want to say they're going to do it. They do it every April because you never know.
Right.
Things
Yeah,
change.
you never know.
But the entire month of April, it's buy one, get one free on the P-line Blue Box fluorocarbon. So get in on that. Check your local dealers. They got it in stock. Go stock up on it. So, all right. I know we got a few more minutes. Any more questions we can jump on?
Can't stand not being able to see the thing. So I'm reloading again.
Nate Wilson wants to know who your pick is to win the Elite at Lake Murray, and can't pick me. He said.
Oh, I can't pick Matt.
You and your poor phone. J-Man said you're a low-tech man in a high-tech world.
All right, I think I got it back now.
By yourself? Without Tyler's help?
Well, I've watched him do it enough that I know the steps. I got to skip the ads. Yeah, we're back. We're back. I hit my mic.
Hit the 3 lines.
All right. Dude, yeah, I hit the 3 lines. We got it all.
You got to
good.
pick somebody to win the Elites at Murray, and it can't be me.
Pick somebody to win Elites. Murray, it can't be Matt. Oh. Are there any locals in it? I guess New's kind of a local.
Well, he's very local now.
Yeah, he's very.
been down there
He'll be staying at home for that.
Yeah, he'll be down there. He's been down there over a year now.
Like-
Trying to think, Cobb would be a good one.
Yeah,
Cobb's a heck of a herring
Cobb's-
fisherman.
He's going to know that place well.
Yep.
Like I want to lean after watching what Anthony did. I want to lean toward a forward-facing sonar guy,
Well, you wouldn't pick me anyway then.
but I also want to. Like I've got 2 trains of thought here, so I want a forward-facing sonar guy.
Well, you can only pick one guy now.
I know, but I'm trying to think of a mix. So I want a guy that's good at forward-facing sonar, And I want a guy that's a good bank fisherman, running the bank, maybe plucking a few late spawners off, a few spawning fish. So I want somebody that can blend both of those together, because I feel like the herring fish, which definitely capable of winning and very well may, but I feel like they're going to be pressured a lot more than your bank fish and your forward-facing sonar fish. So I want to...
Oh, Walters would be a good pick, too.
Yeah, Walters would be a good pick.
Todd Goad said P-Dub. I want to be like, who is that?
Who is P-Dub? Is that Walters?
I don't know. Is that Walters, Todd? Oh, by the way, I did
I guess
see,
that is Walters.
So who's your pick? You didn't tell us.
Oh, I hadn't
you
said
named
yet.
like 5 guys.
Yeah. I mean, I got to go with my buddy Brian New. I got to go with New.
All right. Chris Anello asked, he said he's got the big bass bash at the Ozarks this weekend. What should he throw for that $100,000 fish? So I'm going to be honest with you. I just got a little secret text from a buddy of mine. And he's got a friend that has caught some really big ones up there this time of year, especially with warming temps, getting up close to 60 degrees. Throwing that lunker hunt fetch behind docks, back behind the floats, under the walkways and things like that. And that lunker hunt fetch is, this time of year is when it shines. So try
How many different colors will you tie on at Murray? I know that's one of your favorite things.
Yeah,
to do.
yeah, but I don't think it'll be a huge player, but I'll just have one color tied on. I mean, just to start with.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we only have 4 colors anyway. Well, 5 counting the orange and green one. I
So
probably
what's
won't
your
have it
favorite?
tied on.
He don't want to tell.
No, the common shiner probably.
Oh.
Yeah, common shiner. All right, let's see.
That thing will catch him. I seen some pictures. Buddy Black caught some big ones at Moss the other day on it. I remember
He lost like a 7-pounder
I
on it the
remember you
other
telling
day.
me
Yeah,
that.
he said it's 7. Anytime you lose one, it's always a couple pounds bigger.
Of course. But it might have been an 8.
Ryan, I don't know if they got this shirt back in stock, but I'll tell you what, I know Jesse and John and them check out the show every once in a while, and here's a shout out Jesse and John. We got people asking about these shirts to get them back in stock. So I'll check on that for you, Ryan. I will check on that. So I need to go to the website, see what they do, see what T-shirts they do have available right now. All right, here's the thing: Lake of the Ozarks, big bass bash, spring of the year, fish are pulling up. I'll be throwing big swim baits. Like I have 4. I mean, it's a big bass bash.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to catch a boat. Like you're trying to catch one bass.
Right.
I mean, I know you.
But you could do that with a lot of things that time. Like you could throw a big jig, like a big profile jig.
Well, yeah. I mean, you
You
could
could throw a big spinner bait, a big blade chatterbait, dirty
But it's
water.
the time of year when them fish bite them big glides. I mean, you probably get your
Yeah.
feelings hurt more often than not.
That's true.
But you
That's
catch one,
true.
you win a boat, you know.
That is very true.
I asked some boys out in California what they'd be throwing.
That is true. They'd be throwing.
But yeah, I mean-
well, now Midwest and East Coast
8 to
big
10 inch
glides
glides.
like
Yeah.
that.
They laugh at
West
our
Coast big glides like that, I think.
That's right. But no, to Brian's point, you're liable to catch a giant on anything.
Yeah. Like don't forget about the fun stuff. You know, have you a big bait or two, but have you some fun stuff. Have you a big blade chatterbait, a spinner bait, a jig, jerk bait. I mean, you still catch a big one on a
I
jerk
mean,
bait
if you
right
got
now.
2 guys in the boat, shoot, one
Yeah,
of you throwing
have
a big,
one fish for bites
That's
and
right.
one fish
That's
for
right.
giants.
Yep. I mean, a little wacky worm this time of year catch a
Yeah.
6-7 pounder.
Yeah.
All right. We're about closing in on 8 o'clock. We got anything else to add or cover before we get into our trivia question?
I guess this will be our last show for.
Yeah, I leave
Coach,
Sunday.
You're leaving Sunday, and I'll
be
leave
gone.
Thursday,
I'll be gone for 2 back-to-backs, Santee and Murray.
and we'll have
then-
heavy hitters. And then I think I've got a little bit of a break.
Yeah, I only have a few days, and then I go to lay.
Yeah.
Then I have like 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
So,
We'll
are you-
get a show in sometime.
do you have a good break in May?
I think for a week or so, week and a half.
Okay.
Then we've got gunners.
We'll be back when we can get back. Ryan Sowers wants to hear my turkey calling skills. Well, I don't have any calls with me.
Can you
So,
just mouth us one off? I mean, I guess I didn't hear anything gobble, but it sounded good. Gobble for us, Tyler.
will you gobble?
You're asking the wrong
Stick
person.
your head out and I'll blow it off.
Wrong person.
He said you asking the wrong person
I
to try to
almost
gobble.
expected Jeff to give us a gobble from the back room.
I was waiting for a computer click.
Jeff's gonna come around the corner. Yeah, we will get back in the studio. Gosh knows when, guys.
As soon as possible.
Soon as possible. And yeah,
We'll have some good intel though when we get back.
again, congrats to Smoke on obviously the Red Crest Championship, but
Thank
top
you,
top
thank you.
10 coming. Where are you at in the points now?
Oh well, the first 2 weren't so good, so I think I'm like mid-20s.
Okay, well, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
I mean
good.
it's not terrible, but it's not bad.
That's exactly where I'm
doable.
at. I'm in the mid-20s somewhere.
Yeah.
I did notice that the AOY deal got shook up a little bit because a couple of guys didn't make it out of the initial rounds, the qualifying rounds.
Yeah, I haven't went and looked at the full points list.
Jacob didn't, which is
Yeah, that one surprised me.
And then there's somebody else in the top 3 that didn't make it out of the knockout rounds.
I don't know.
Wasn't Odd? It was. I don't even know who.
No, I think Ott's
Oh, it was
leading.
Ayler, I think. Yeah. Those were the top 3. Of course, y'all only had 3 events now.
Yes, that was our
3
third.
events.
And
So-
our next event will be
A
at
lot of fishing
Murray.
left to do.
Yeah, we've
Lot
still
of
got a
fishing.
little over half the season left. Murray will be our next regular season BPT event. I think it's mid-May. We've got heavy hitters coming up the end of the month on Caney Creek and Bussy Break, where we started last year, and everybody caught 10-pounders everywhere, and 12-pounders, and nearly 13-pounders. And
Catch me a 13 when you go down there.
I would love to.
Yeah, that
I
would
would
be
absolutely love to. I got to
Mike
get.
Harris said Thrift is 23rd. He just gave you your points.
Okay,
update.
thank you, Mike. I'm 23rd. I got to make the championship round on Bussy Break again and get redemption on that big one I touched on top of the head and lost $100,000.
Oh, look at Andy Morgan. He's up in 3rd. Mike said in
Morgan
the
is
AOY.
third. That's where Andy belongs. He's
Yeah,
always like.
Andy's a stick.
He's always
has
in
been.
3rd until the end of the year when he really catches them good, and then he jumps up to 1st.
Yep, absolutely, Todd. Thank you for the support again. Shout out to Pulse Fish Lures and
Yeah,
Bryan and
we
Blackfish for-
stayed with Todd at Douglas and got to look at the office of Pulse Fish Lures.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
That's-
it's pretty
yeah.
nice. I got to see all the baits.
Did you see any of those pet turkeys he's got running around his house?
I did
Yeah.
every day. They were
What
strutting.
you think about me?
No, I didn't. I've got to be honest, I didn't. But Todd's got a nice setup there. He showed me how he puts the bills on and all that. It's a pretty neat deal.
Yeah, that's Todd's got a nice little pad up there on the hill in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Beautiful view up there
The
too.
home of Pulse Fish Lures.
Yeah, you're the reason.
He's got a good looking swim bait too. He showed me some.
Oh,
of
the
that.
swimmer.
Yeah, is it? I hope it's out yet. I hope I didn't just let it out.
You talking about the jointed swimmer?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got them tied on for Murray.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I got them. I don't know about the rest of the elite guys, but I got some.
See, and why didn't I get one, Tom?
Well, you were there. All you had to do
I
was
know.
ask
That's why
to
I'm
get
sitting here
one.
thinking, like, I know he said he'd give me one, but I don't know. I must have forgot. I don't know. Either way.
All right, trivia question time. So again, tonight's trivia is sponsored by Pulse Fish Lures and Bryan and Blackfish Gear. $50 gift card to Blackfish and $50 prize pack coming in from Pulse Fish Lures. I did say Ryan said we need to give another Costa trivia prize giveaway.
We did.
I talked to my buddies at Costa at the Classic, and they said to hit them up. We need to get some codes and give away some more Costas. We'll
Yeah,
do that.
we
We'll do
definitely
that.
gotta do
We'll
that.
do that on some upcoming shows. You have our word. We'll give away some more Costa sunglasses. All right, let's. First person to answer on our feed again wins the
I
prize.
don't even know the question, so I can't be a part of finding the answer.
Well, all you need to know is that's the answer. Hold on a
Okay,
second.
gotcha. I seen it.
Okay.
I seen it. We're good.
All right.
I know the answer now, so I can determine the winner.
Todd said all you had to do was ask for a swimmer.
I know, and I think you told me to take one, and we got busy and something I don't remember.
They're only $185 for you.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good looking swim.
Oh, he
bait.
hadn't
Like
sent you
it-
the invoice for the accommodations yet?
No.
It's expensive.
Oh, I bet
to stay
so.
at the
I
Todd
bet so.
Goat Palace. It's expensive. Really, you're paying for the view. The view just it's
And
like,
the food.
It's like oh yeah, and the food.
and the
Yeah.
food.
What do you cook, y'all?
Oh man, we had a big old
Gumbo?
juicy steak. No, we didn't do
Steak?
gumbo.
Didn't
We
do
had, we
gumbo?
had big steaks and potatoes. It was delicious.
I've had their gumbo. It ain't-
Normally I lose weight on the road, and I think I actually gain weight. So thank you, Todd.
Trivia question. Here we go. All right, first answer to come through our feed wins the prize, and we are the judges on the first one that comes through our feed. Do not forget that. I need to know. It's really not a real hard one. I need to know how big it was in pounds and ounces, and who caught it. The largest bass at the BPT at Lake Murray. Who caught it, and how
pounds
big
and
was
ounces.
it in pounds and ounces? I need the name of who caught it and how big it was in pounds and ounces. All in one answer. Don't give me like 17 different answers and make me look, because it doesn't count if you give me the weight and then give me who caught it after that. So
Yeah, it's gotta be
It's
together.
got to be exactly right in pounds
So we
and
need
ounces.
a name and a weight.
If it's wrong,
I got it.
yep, we got it.
Who you got?
I got Jason Gibson. I have 808.
I
Like
have
two
an
people.
808 too,
But
that
an 88, we can't go 808 because that's hundreds, right?
Yep.
So it's 8 pound 8 ounces. Yeah, so it's
All right, I got to go with that.
I mean,
mean,
anybody can argue that 808 is not correct.
That
That's
could
in
be hundreds. Yes,
that could be
Okay,
hundreds.
I'm good with that.
So it's not 8.08.
Like,
it's
yeah.
8.8.
So if they would have used the dash line, that 8
I'd
dash
give it to
0,
them. Yeah, I'd give it
but
to
they
them.
used 8.
But I can't do that. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Jason
All right,
Gibson.
Jason Gibson is the
is the
winner.
official winner. Like Trace Bigelow said, 8-08. Like that would
That
would
would
go.
have, but he had the name wrong, and it was
Chuck
after
Fish,
Jason.
Andy Montgomery. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Jason Gibson, 8.8. Yep.
Yep, that's
All
the
right,
winner.
Jason, you are the official winner. Sorry, Kevin. Sorry, J-Man, but 8.08 is not the correct answer. It is 8.8. 8 pounds, 8 ounces, and it is Andy Montgomery. So, all right, Jason, you know the drill. I think you've won before, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like he's won something before. If not, send us a message on our Facebook page, the Let's Talk Fish Facebook page, with your information. We'll get your shipping information. We'll get the Pulse Fish prize pack out to you ASAP, and then we'll shoot you back the code for your Blackfish $50 gift card. That it? That's it. That's it.
Good show.
Oh, Ryan wants to know what the biggest beard I've ever killed on a turkey is. I've never killed a multiple bearded bird. I've never killed a dove. For some reason, all the turkeys I've ever killed, in the areas I've killed them, very rarely do you ever see a double beard or a triple beard. I mean, I've killed several over 11 inches. I've never killed a legit 12-inch bearded turkey.
So I don't know much about a turkey. The beard length, does that relate anyway to the age of the bird?
No,
or-
not at all.
So it's just however it grows.
Neither does his spurs. You hear a lot of guys talk about the age of a turkey based on how long his spurs are.
Yeah.
That's false, too. So I don't really even know. I had to talk to
So
biologists.
the only way to determine age is just how big he is, body-wise.
Well, that not necessarily. I mean, turkey's diet and where he lives and everything like
Yeah.
that has a lot to do with it. But that's a question for the biologist. But the biologists are the ones that actually told me you cannot accurately age a bird on his spurs or his beard.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: if he's a long beard and his fan is even all the way across when he's strutting, I'm killing it.
That's a good one.
It's a long beard. We hunt long beards. We don't try to judge him based on anything else except the fact that he's not a Jake. For me personally,
Yeah,
now Jakes
gotcha.
are legal, but if it's a bearded bird, it's a legal bird. So even a bearded hen in North Carolina, you can actually shoot a bearded hen in North Carolina.
You just got to have a beard. That's
Correct.
kind of like an
Now, it's-
antlered buck versus unantlered.
It's rare that you see a bearded hen, but they're out there.
I agree with Todd. Corn piles do affect their size. Me and
Yeah.
Todd have some fat turkeys, but we don't hunt them.
You got a fat turkey. You got fat turkeys. You got fat turkeys.
Yeah, I got fat turkeys.
Speaking of which, never mind. We'll talk later. Nah, all right, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. We had a lot to talk about. Appreciate y'all sticking with us. Again, shout out to Angler's Choice, presenting sponsor of Let's Talk Fish. Follow us, subscribe to us on YouTube if you haven't already, and obviously you can listen to all our podcasts on all the podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, all the goodies. You catch up. You do like I do when I'm driving across the country. I listen to all kinds of different podcasts. Do you listen to any podcasts?
No, not really.
I listen to Meat Eater. That's a really good
Yeah.
one. You'd probably like that one.
I probably would. Like, when I'm driving, that's like the only quiet time I really ever have. So sometimes I don't even turn the radio on. I just drive.
Scott Klein, that's incorrect. I'm sorry. He said, by the way, it wasn't 8.8, guys. It was 8.0 caught by Gagliardi on the final day. Andy Montgomery caught an 8 pound, 8 ounce
Yeah.
largemouth
On the
in
second,
one of the earlier
second day of Group A.
Yeah, second day of Group A. There you go. I'm glad we got a BPT guy. He can tell us exactly
Well, I
the
talked
day
to
it was
Andy
caught.
about it. He called it off the bed. Like we were waiting to load our boats, and he's like, "Man, I started to save him for the next day." I'm like, "God,
Save him. No.
Yeah, that's what I
That's
told
like
him.
the cardinal rule with a big female.
Yeah,
like that.
like you don't save a
him.
fish like that because it may be gone in 30 minutes.
Exactly, 100%. That's what I saw. A couple of those guys that were going around and they were looking for big females after they had 20 pounds. And they knew
Yeah.
they didn't need any more to really,
Right.
to make it to the next day or to be in a good position or whatever.
Right.
They're like, if I see a female, I'm catching it because like, there's no guarantee she'll be here. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can vouch for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can vouch for that. So, all right, let's wrap it up. Brian, you want to close us out? Appreciate
Yeah.
everybody tuning in.
Thank you, guys. We're glad to be back here for another episode of Let's Talk Fish. And looks like it's going to be a couple weeks before we get back on here, but we'll have a lot of good information, a lot of good intel, and some wrap-ups on, some really great lakes. So 3 big fish lakes. Matt and the Elite Series are going to Murray. A lot of going to be some 8s caught there. Then they get to go to one of my personal favorite lakes, Santee Cooper, which is always shows out this time of year. We're going back to Caney Creek and Bussy Break for the heavy hitters. So The next show, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and title it, the Big Fish Show, because that's what it's going to be. We're going to be talking. We may not be participating in the catching of the big
I hope
fish.
we are.
But we're going to be able to talk about a lot of big fish that we're caught. So,
Yeah, tune in to the next few events, y'all. You can go on Bassmaster.com, MajorLeagueFishing.com, watch these tournaments. If you like to see giant bass caught, you're going to see some.
It's going to be
few
some good
tournaments.
shows.
Yep.
And it's going to be fun, especially I'm especially looking forward to the heavy hitters on Caney Creek, because it's such a small lake. It's like 5,000 acres. Like you can see from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to be tight, and it's going to be interesting. And plus, I think the high school weight record, one-day weight record, was just broke at Caney a couple weeks ago with 5 for like 37.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Lord
So
have mercy.
It's still kicking them out. But anyways, sorry.
I was wondering when he was going to sign us
Matt
off.
finally quit talking, so I got to speak a little bit tonight. I mean, I finally got to talk a little bit, which is rare that I actually have any much to say, but it seemed like tonight's the night. But anyways, Matt, if we can't go fishing, what are we going to do?
Sit right here and talk fish.
Perfect.
See y'all next.